I mean, a lot of the movies really show what it used to be like. I mean, it's I mean, it's not authentic to the Saudi now, like to the Saudi
Yeah,
of today.
exactly. Yeah,
But I mean, it. I mean, back then it was kind of like the way it was, which was portrayed in the movies. It was kind of like a way of life, I guess. But I think the most authentic movie that was true to Saudi, maybe I want to say Black Irish, maybe about like the family, the brothers, the
yeah,
you know, I mean, alcoholic father, and
yeah.
it's yeah, I mean, it's I think that was the most one that portrayed Salty, and it wasn't. And what I liked about it, it wasn't the whole like the whole whitey thing. Like that's, I mean, that's good for film and stuff, but it was more of like the families in Salty. That's what it was like. You know, the triple deckers, the
Yeah.
the older brothers. I think that was probably one of the true movies.
Boston has never really had a really predominant mafia presence. I mean, there were a number of people that were in the mafia in Boston, which the Irish mob, effectively eliminated. Um, we were basically, as far as the mafia was concerned, we were an outpost of an organization that was headed by the Patriarca family in Providence. So the Irish mobs or the Irish gangs, they were right out there. And they were predominant. They actually really ran most of the stuff the underworld stuff that took place in Boston. And they were among the people. They were well known. I mean, you get into the situations that they were talking about, or the wars that took place in the 60s between um, the Winter Hill Gang and the Charlestown Gang. There were people shot out in the middle of the street in broad daylight, and hundreds of witnesses, and no one testified. Why? Because they were part of the community. And I mean, it's the same thing in the North End too with the Italian population. Now, it's just that again, it goes back to tribes. We keep it within our own, and somehow or another, this community has been able to do that. And people that are coming into the community, whether they be from Central or Latin America, are starting to emulate that themselves.
I mean, there was always gangs in Saudi, and I think Saudi was so big with the gangs because I mean, you had the shipyards right down there. Everybody was boosting everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, today it still happens. I mean, I get stuff that falls off the back of the truck all the time. I mean, we come over. I mean, I'll come home with steaks and ribs and everything.
Yeah.
And but I mean, even like I didn't even like even as a kid like we used to get stuff like that. My father would come in with like he wouldn't steal it, but I mean like they would come in with like a bunch of stuff and like anything. I mean it was kind of like a way of life. Like I didn't even I'm like oh you just got it at the got it at the bar.
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest problems that I see with you're talking about Whitey Bulger and his portrayal. The last movie that was done that it was even vaguely reminiscent of Whitey Bulger was The Departed, and everybody assumed that the characters that were in The Departed were based on Whitey Bulger, when in fact it was a remake of a motion picture that was made in Hong Kong called Eternal Affairs, and it just happened to fit into a Boston, a Boston atmosphere, but nobody in Hong Kong people don't associate Hong Kong with those type of criminals. But because Scorsese came up from New York and did that, and they made the character, changed them around to look like it was Whitey Bulger, you know, it paints a very broad stroke of a particular community of South Boston. Uh, you know, they don't talk about other people that come out of South Boston that have done well. You know,
I just think the victims and the families of the victims and anyone that was affected by Waddy Boulder, I think they're just done with it, man. Just want to be done with it. In terms of anyone outside of that, You know, as much as people hate, man, they love the attention. You kidding me? Like I said, when I was coming out of my house that day, dudes hating on like the Gone Baby Gone shot, blah blah blah, just bringing yuppies and all that stuff. Then they were literally outside of the line trying to be part of the shot. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to be part of it. For sure. Hate all you want. Everyone wants to be part of it.
I don't know. It's not like it used to be, you know.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing. I mean,
So do you think, you know, I mean, they're still trying to do a Whitey movie right now.
yeah.
What do you think about all that stuff?
Um,
Like, what do you think that does to the, you know, I mean, like
Yeah.
Kathy Ray, you know,
Yeah.
McGonagall's, you know, everything that happened to all these, you know, innocent people and how it affected their families and shit. What do you, like, you know, that aspect of film production, do you think they're kind of going overboard and kind of trying to exploit and bring back certain times in these people's lives that they don't want to remember?
yeah. I mean, even when Whitey got caught, they did, and I mean, it must have been tough. I mean, and I know even then when the camera crews and everything, like Billy Bulger was right down the street, and they were parked all on East Third everywhere for weeks, and even still then, like a lot of Southie people, like, you know, kind of didn't really talk about it, you know, and but yeah, I don't think it's right. I don't think they should. I mean, they should make the movie. I mean, uh, but I don't think that they should exploit people. I mean, hopefully they don't. Like, hopefully they don't get into their lives and bring up these memories that they try to forget. You know, but I think the movie should be made. I think it'll be a good movie. I mean, there's books written about it all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So what's
why
the
not?
difference?
Yeah,
You know?
what's the difference? You know, I mean, why not make a movie about it?